Good morning to the Honorable Ministers of the Council, members of the media, online viewers, radio listeners via St. Martin Gov Radio, 107.9 FM, and respective radio stations island-wide. I'm Rolika Roach, and welcome to the live Council of Ministers press briefing for today, Wednesday, July 14th, 2021. At this time, I would like to invite the Minister of Education, Culture, Youth, and Sport, the Honorable Dr. Anders Rudolph Samuel, to address you. Minister Samuel, you have the floor.
Thank you, Rolika. Good morning to you. PM, good morning. My colleague ministers, members of the media, St. Martin, good morning. I will bring to you a couple of events that took place as to inform the public what's taking place in my neck of the woods. The drifting event of the St. Martin Automotive Federation under the banner of Caribbean Motorsports Summer Fest has brought the first official sanctioned motorsport event to St. Martin. I am pleased to report that last weekend drifting event was found to be successful. That does not mean there was not one or two challenges. And it is very good to see when the cooperation between the organizers and the stakeholders take place, what is possible here in St. Martin. So to the stakeholders, I would definitely like to say thank you for your assistance. And then I'm looking at the fire department, the police, the ambulance, and the emergency services, because these events they need your cooperation, and so in order for them to be successful. Another event in the weekend that took place was on Sunday, 11th of July, 2021. The Art Save Life Foundation opens its first 2021 Summer Intensive Changing Perspective, Shifting the Consciousness. The program presents world-renowned artists from New York in workshops and courses from Monday, July 12th to Friday, July 17th from 7 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. for adults, adolescents, and children with the aim to empower them through arts. The Minister of Theatre, the Honorable Ludmila De Weaver, my colleague, and myself attended the reception. What by now has become a tradition, the summer program of the Art Save Lives Foundation, founded and managed by Miss Nicole Chantal De Weaver, brings top-performing artists to St. Martin to interact with local confirmed talents and budding artists to encourage them to build on what they have and give them the confidence that they too will be among the artists who, through their artistry, will positively touch lives and minds in the world. In collaboration between the Department of Culture of the Ministry of Education, Culture, and Sports, the St. Martin Tourist Bureau, and the Ministry of Theatre is witness to the efforts of the diversity of the economy of St. Martin, and we are endeavor to develop the culture creative industries as both are instrumental in the diversification of the tourism industry and as an economic sector on its own. The 2021 Summer Intensive Changing Perspective, Shifting the Consciousness closes off with a presentation on Saturday, July 17th, upcoming at 7 p.m. at the St. Martin Cultural Center. And tickets are being sold for this event. Adults $10 or $15, and children $10 to $5. For more information, please contact Ms. Nicole Chantal De Weaver, and the number is +1 917 749 2739, and it is also a WhatsApp number. I would also like to make known something that happened yesterday afternoon in Belvedere, where the Jubilee Library opened its first satellite branch library in the Belvedere area. And this will bring to the youth of the Belvedere and surrounding areas the other challenged elderly who have problems reaching to the library. This brings books and library services in the neighborhood. So this was a very, very, very good thing that happened yesterday. What we all have happening still under the area of sports is that the netball under 16 national are participating in a netball Goodwill Invitational in Dominica. So our netball association is having a challenge because they are now in Dominica challenging the Dominica teams. So after a few days of self-quarantine, they are now taking part in this invitational. You know, sometimes we see things happening and we know that the Ministry of Education, Culture, Youth and Sports is doing its best to assist together with all other stakeholders. And I would like to remind us and let us know that every investment made, whether the investment is an incidental subsidy or is it a program being financed, whether persons do volunteer work, all investment make in our youth, worth it. Every bit of it worth it. We say the youth are the future of tomorrow. And if that is so, we know that the investments we make in them worth it. So I am grateful that this is happening. I am giving a shout out to the basketball corner. I have seen the baseball come, good to life. I see football is doing their thing. Motorsport is out there. But the basketball group, I am calling out on them to, get the energy running and so that we can have basketball back in St. Martin where it used to be. I thank you.
Thank you, Minister Samuel, for your opening remarks. I would like to inform members of the media and the viewing and listening public that the Minister of Education, Culture, Youth and Sport, the Honorable Dr. Anders Rudolph Samuel, will be leaving within short from the press briefing and will not be available for any questions. However, does ask that you send it in writing to his cabinet. At this time, I would like to invite the Prime Minister and Minister of General Affairs, the Honorable Silveria Jacobs, to address you. Also, members of the media, viewing and listening public, the Prime Minister will be leaving the press briefing right after her opening statements.
Good morning to my colleague ministers, members of the media here present, of course, DCOM, and all the support staff, as well as to, of course, the general public, people of St. Martin, good morning. I would like to inform that yesterday we did have a very good day for St. Martin. Indeed, we were able to secure additional funding to the tune of $45 billion for ERP1, Emergency Recovery Project 1, which was actually the first trust fund project that was approved in 2018. As we've been going through and seeing the fruits of that project with the repairs to schools, to police station, to public and private homes, the government of St. Martin authorized and mandated the NRPB to sign on for this additional financing agreement, which they did in the person of Mr. Claret Connor, together with the new Country Director for St. Martin and the region, Ms. Lilia Burontiuk, who is replacing for the World Bank, Ms. Tassin Sayed. Today, there is a steering committee meeting that is ongoing right at this moment. As you may remember, on June 25th, the finance minister and I traveled to the Netherlands for a very high-level informal meeting of the steering committee to ensure that the project would be geared to, the balance of the funds would be geared towards the realization of projects in the interest of the goals of St. Martin, and that remains the highest priority. And I think that has been really misconstrued over the past years. Indeed, this meeting was very, very fruitful and successful in building consensus between St. Martin, the Netherlands, and the World Bank in terms of the allocation of the remaining $120 million that are in the trust fund. So today's meeting will be actually the formal meeting to finalize those agreements. Excuse me. Those agreements are geared towards additional financing also for the airport terminal reconstruction project, sustainable housing, which was something we as a Council of Ministers really fought for. It will see much needed funds also being allocated for mental health and further expansion to the ERP1, thank you, projects, which relate to additional repairs to sports facilities and specifically to school sports facilities, the meteorological building, and environmental support projects. One second. Yes, indeed. And tomorrow, so that meeting is actually ongoing, and it's an all-day meeting. But by midday today, there should be a press conference to make some key announcements in this regard where those agreements will be formalized. So it is indeed today and this week quite a busy and fruitful week for St. Martin as we are seeing finally the rollout of those projects that have been long awaited. We have been seeing good progress also with the removal of the wrecks at the lagoon and several other projects which the new country manager was able to tour several of those projects. And of course, one of the major ones, seeing that we are now moving into the hurricane season or into it already, is the finalization of the 11 shelters with sustainable electrical, with the generators and the generator houses that were built for that, as well as the water tanks that would be enabling those shelters to have electricity and water during and after the storm, if one should pass. Today, I'd also like to congratulate the Ministry of Justice as they celebrate Justice Week. They kicked off that week with a conference that started on Monday, where I was able to also do some opening remarks with the Minister of Justice. But it's a working conference, which, based on my updates from the Minister, is going very, very well. The contributions across the departments within the justice chain will definitely ensure that the sharing of information and the collaborating for a unified force and achieving the goals of the ministry. So I continue to wish them much success with their working conference and look forward to the fruitful outcomes that will come out of this year's conference. Also on Saturday, the district governor of Rotary District 7020, in the person of Mr. Louis Waver, was sworn in for the Rotary year. I was also able to be there to celebrate with them. And not just with the Rotary, but many service clubs that around the island are continuing to do a great job for St. Martin. And of course, government continues to support that effort. Another discussion that will be held tomorrow, quite important for St. Martin, in which I'll be representing the country, is with the State Secretary Raymond Knops. That is scheduled for tomorrow, July 15th, in a four-country discussion with the other prime ministers of Aruba and Curacao on the remaining items of concern related to the advice from the Council of State for the Coho law. As you know, our technical teams have been meeting, and just recently Curacao came back to the table to ensure that their input is also given. And so today is a moment for us to come together as four countries to discuss the conclusions of those discussions and the following, or let's say the remaining points that still need to be addressed that were not addressed on the technical level. We hope to, at the end of the meeting, be able to come to a consensus on these items of concern, and I'll be able to update the general public, as well as, of course, my Council of Ministers on the outcome of said meetings after that has taken place. So that is scheduled for tomorrow. And one of the main reason that I'm not able to remain for the rest of the press briefing is that the Ministry of General Affairs is currently undergoing a training session which is led by the SOAB, one of our main stakeholders in improving government, and it's based on policy-based budgeting. This is an attempt of the ministry to ensure that our budgeting from here on in is very much, we've had very critical reviews from whether it was the General Audit Chamber or the Council of Advice or even the SER in terms of the reflection of government's goals in our budget. So in order to ensure that that is the case, we are getting the necessary training to ensure that the legislation and policies are reflected in our budget, and specifically the ones aimed at the attainment of our goals for that specific budget year. And I must say in that respect that increasing efficiency and effectiveness of our organization, to the organization itself, seeing that the Ministry of General Affairs plays that role as the glue to all the other ministries. The majority of the departments serve the entire organization, and in order to ensure that our personnel are receiving or working in a conducive environment to ensure that all our policies are fair and effective, and that we're promoting that throughout the organization and ensuring that the service that we give to the general public is of a high caliber. I feel that my participation in that session or in these sessions that will take place over the next 3 days is quite key. And today is the first day of the session, so I'm quite excited to be a part of that, but felt it necessary to still come to the general public and to the media to give an update. Should there be any questions, of course, related to what I've stated here or anything else, please feel free to contact my communications team, and we will indeed get back to you before the end of the day. I would like to remind the general public that we are in the midst of the hurricane season, to remain vigilant, and that COVID-19 has not gone anywhere. The new Delta strain continues to challenge many countries around the world, and I'm sure that the minister will have an update on that. But from as leader of government, I must state that it is imperative that we all take the responsibilities, that it is first of all ours to protect ourselves and our family. Government will continue to take all necessary measures to ensure that we are protected. But at the end of the day, in order to keep our economy running, we must all do our part. So stay tuned to what the Minister of VSI will be bringing to you in that regard, but know that he has the backing of the Council of Ministers to ensure that all measures are upheld and that we remain as safe as possible. That would be all for now, and I thank you for your time and attention.
Thank you, Prime Minister Jacobs, for your opening remarks. At this time, I would like to invite the Minister of Public Health, Social Development and Labor, the Honorable Omar Ottley, to address you. Minister Ottley, you have the floor.
Thank you, Relaika. Blessed day to the members of the media, my esteemed colleagues, the Council of Ministers, and those viewing and listening. Today, I would like to reiterate on the food voucher program. Many persons are having a bit of difficulty. I have received complaints of the WhatsApp number or the telephone number. I can imagine they are overwhelmed. I ask you to be patient, continue to try. You can reach them at 554-3219, 554-3219. You can also apply at foodprogram.sx, www.foodprogram.sx. Also, I ask you, the public, if you cannot get through online, you are experiencing difficulties getting through on the phone, please, you can go to your community help desk in Dutch Quarter or Coal Bay. They will assist you. We are trying our best, and we hope that it can be efficient. And every complaint is being taken up with the relevant persons and addressed. hopefully in a timely manner. I now move to COVID-19 updates. We are averaging 3 to 5 cases per day. This is actually good news for the island. I pray for the day we are averaging 0, but we are on a decrease. We have 27 active cases currently on St. Martin. Unfortunately, we have experienced the Delta variant. I asked the public of St. Martin to remain very vigilant and very cautious, as the Delta variant is twice as potent, is twice as strong as the regular variant. So I ask us to remain cautious. I ask us to follow protocols, and I would use this to segue into the vaccination campaign. Due to the success that we have had last weekend with the pop-ups at the Festival Village and Melford Hazel, we have had over 600 first-time doses. 600. Due to this success, we have decided to extend the possibility for first-time dosage. I would like to encourage everyone interested in receiving the vaccine. You can go to CPS at the Vineyard Building from 8:30 to 4 p.m., Monday through Friday. I would like to encourage those to know that we also have today and tomorrow, we'll be at the movie cinema. Today we will be doing registration, and then we would make your appointment at CPS at the Vineyard Building. Tomorrow we will be at the movie cinema again from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. And from there, the rest of the week, next week, we will be back at the Bel Air Community Center, where we will go from 8:30 to 4 p.m. We encourage everyone to come out, continue this vaccination process. Like I said, due to the success that we have had, we decided to continue it throughout the month of July. Being that we are one island, one country, one destiny, I would also like to promote to the persons on the French side. You can get vaccinated at the Vaccinodrome in Gallas Bay, Monday through Saturday from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. So this message is for anyone on the French side interested in getting their vaccination and may wonder where to go. You can go to Gallas Bay at the Vaccinodrome Monday through Saturday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. I would also like to add, on the Dutch side of the island, we are now administering vaccination for those 12 years old and older. So, St. Martin, it's up to you. I look forward to seeing you at the vaccination drives. I would also like to let everyone know that there will be a pop-up again at the Festival Village from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. this Friday. At the Festival Village, 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. this Friday. And we will also have a pop-up at what some know at the Cocky Turtle location, some know it as the Huts. That'll be on Saturday from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. So look out for those 2 pop-up locations as we will continue the pop-ups throughout the month of July. Thank you. I look forward to any questions from the media.
Thank you, Minister Ottley, for your opening remarks. At this time, I would like to invite the Minister of Public Housing, Spatial Planning, Environment, and Infrastructure, the Honorable Egbert Duran, to address you. Minister Duran, you have the floor.
Thank you, Ms. Roach. Good morning, colleagues, members of the media. A special good morning to the people of St. Martin. Today, I have a few updates for you. In regards to the GB oil spill that happened yesterday, they are now busy working with the relevant stakeholders on the matter to get it resolved as soon as possible. It is indeed unfortunate. However, I got word that they are working on it. And I'm awaiting a full detailed report as to what happened and how we plan to move forward. Also, the plan of readiness for in the event that this would happen in the future. In regards to the Department of Permits, a lot of permits requests have been submitted over the last couple of months. So this definitely shows the appetite of the public and as well as investors to continue to invest in our gem. We are doing our best to process these permits as quickly as possible. However, of course, there are some challenges with respect to human resources. Nevertheless, in my opinion, as well as the opinion of the department, we are flowing, we are getting things done as quick as possible. The Prime Minister alluded to the 45 million additional financing for ERP1 that was done yesterday. This has to do with, of course, the home repairs, school repairs, as well as critical government buildings. This is indeed a milestone for the country in terms of the progress with the trust fund. So therefore, I would like to say congratulations to the people of St. Martin, as well as those relevant stakeholders involved, from the World Bank to the NRPB, also the Dutch government and the government of St. Martin for their involvement in being able to secure these funds. In regards to the inspection department, I would like to urge the general public, and although it is known, but I would like to remind the general public that illegal construction will not be tolerated. The inspection department, they are rolling out, they are doing their investigations, they are inspecting. I wanted to just reiterate that the inspectors are simply doing their jobs. Because at the end of the day, if we have structures that are not safe, it can be a hazard to yourself as the public. So therefore, do not see it as a threat or any sort of intimidation, but see it more as the department doing what they need to do to make sure that we secure the safety of the public, as well as make sure that things are done in the right manner. We are now in the hurricane season, as is known. The garbage cleanup for the hurricane season, the schedule will continue to be published. So therefore, look out for the publication on all the different platforms, which will be on social media, the VROMI Facebook page, government's Facebook page, as well as the Facebook page of some of the haulers, as well as the newspaper, so that you can see when they'll be cleaning up in your area. I would like to urge the general public to continue to adhere to the safety protocols with regard to the COVID-19. We are now on a decrease, and hopefully we'll be able to get over this hurdle. As the minister just alluded just now, we are doing pretty okay in terms of the vaccination. I encourage everyone to show up to these vaccination drives so that we can be able to start back and build back our economy as to where it used to be, or even better. And with that, I would like to say God bless the people of St. Martin, and thank you. I look forward to any questions from the media.
Thank you, Minister Duran, for your opening remarks. At this time, I would like to invite the Minister of Tourism, Economic Affairs, Transport, and Telecommunication, the Honorable Ludmila De Wever, to address you. Minister De Wever, you have the floor.
Thanks, Ms. Roach. Good morning, Prime Minister, colleague ministers, members of the media, viewing and listening public. Just a quick update of the last week's events. On Saturday, as some of you might have seen, St. Martin welcomed Frontier Airlines for the first time. It was 2 flights originating from Florida, one from Orlando, as well as one from Miami. I believe it's about a maximum passenger carry amount of about 300, but we received around 230 passengers. And it is quite a celebration for St. Martin to offer an additional option for affordable flights from the U.S. And it continues discussions that I, along with the rest of the ministry, had ongoing with another carrier, Global X or Global Crossings. And that dialogue is still continuing. In addition, it also gives us a little bit of hope to continue the dialogue with representatives of Virgin Atlantic, because it would be nice to expand our arrivals, especially to my former home in England. In addition to that, actually, which is really important for the public to know, the ways that we are coming up with ensuring that St. Martin remains competitive and not impose requirements for entry that act as a deterrent. The good news is that shortly we will be seeing a reduction of the insurance that we have as an entry here for the $30. The date is not finalized, but this dialogue is ongoing with the reinsurer and the consultant that has helped us put that in place, which is one of the reasons that people feel safe coming to our island, in addition to the work that has been done by VSI Ministry to continue encouraging all of our residents to go out and get vaccinated, continue promoting all of our behaviors, whether it's from a business or an individual. Last but not least, Minister Ottley and I had a meeting with Carnival Cruise Line representatives, and towards the end of this month, we are looking at a return of Seabourn, I believe, Minister. And this is a smaller vessel, but it is already leading the way to larger vessels coming in at a later date. We are busy finalizing entry protocols because we want them to be streamlined across the board for all of the ships that will be coming back to our shores. So all in all, very good news. And I'm available for questions until about 10:45. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister DeWeaver, for your opening remarks. If you've just joined us, you are watching the live Council of Ministers press briefing for today, Wednesday, July 14th, 2021. Thank you for joining us. We now move on to the question and answer session. However, before we begin, I would like to inform that the Minister of Finance, the Honorable Artswell Edion, is present, however, will not be making any opening statements, but is available for any questions the media may have. The floor is open, and I would first like to invite Stephen Cerulean of PJ82 Radio. You have the floor.
Thank you, Ms. Roach. Excellencies, good morning. My question is for the Minister of Finance. I'm sure you have taken note of the recent statement of the CFT chairman proposing that a possible tax increase, property tax, and as well as other tax should be taken into consideration to help with the financial situation of St. Martin. Firstly, what's your reaction towards the property tax, as was mentioned by the CFT chairman?
Good morning to the council, good morning to the media, good morning to the people of St. Martin. In regards to the comment on the land or property tax, that's already part of our current tax system, but it's set to 0, so we don't collect on that. So it's not a new tax, it's just that it's set to 0. In regard to the taxes, we've discussed already tax reform that's on our agenda, and we're scheduled to have our first meeting on that in Parliament, I believe in August, so in the second or third week of August. And there we will address all the different tax reforms and so forth that we've been working on in the last year and a half.
Thank you, Minister Edion, and thank you, Stephen, for the question. I would now like to invite Bibi Hart Shah of SMA News. You have the floor.
Thank you, Relaika. Can I ask the Minister a follow-up based on my colleague's question, and then I'll go to my question. Minister, are you considering, or is government considering initiating the property tax, like moving it from 0 and to what % of taxes you are expecting to implement on the people of St. Martin? As for my question, Minister of VSR, Minister, the French side, the state of France is considering right now mandatory vaccination for healthcare workers and possibly teachers. Are you considering applying those very measures? And what about having, for example, the European Union right now, the QR code will be needed if you're traveling to to Europe. One might say the vaccine is not mandatory, but there are certain things that are going to be put in place for people. So if you want to travel, for example, you must have this or you must have that. Are you considering any of those for this side of the island?
Minister Edion.
Thank you for your question, Ms. Shaw. As I mentioned before, in regards to the tax reforms, these will be addressed in August. In regards to just increasing it from 0 to a number, that's not the current plans, no. And we always will look at the taxes and the best interest of the country. So in one of the discussions I've had in the past, for example, is a tax that, for example, would maybe look at foreigners, for example, tax that would look at condos, but we don't have a fixed ideas yet. We're still looking at the different options, but it always would be in the best interest of the people of St. Martin.
Minister Ottley.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Ms. Shah, for your question. It is a very good question. I would like to touch on a QR code. We are in the process of implementing this. We're about 2 weeks away, actually, We're just doing our final negotiations with the Netherlands to ensure that everything is running smoothly. I see in the near future, we as government probably won't have to force persons to be vaccinated. It will become a way of life. As you see, the European unions will start to accept this. France is already putting implementations, and other countries will do so. So this is part of my plea to the public and explaining them that it will be a part of life. It will come to a point eventually that businesses, airplanes, we see it already with the cruise ships, are requiring persons to be fully vaccinated to enter their establishment or enter their vessel. So slowly but surely we are seeing the adjustment. I just asked the public to get on board while we have one of the best vaccines, while we have one of the best rollouts and programs. You know, at the end of July 31st, the mass vaccination program will come to an end. So the vaccines will be available, but not as accessible as they are now. It will be appointment only. So therefore, if you want to travel or anything, your traveling has to be basically 5 weeks in advance, plan 5 weeks in advance so you can receive your first shot, wait 3 weeks, and then receive your second shot. So definitely it is becoming a way of the world, and I think that the outside world will implement it much quicker than we will, forcing us to have no choice but to be vaccinated.
Thank you, Minister Ottley, and thank you, Minister Edion. I would now like to invite Jacqueline Hoffman of the Daily Herald. You have the floor.
Good morning, honorable ministers. Thank you for the opportunity to ask questions to Minister Ottley. The Prime Minister just mentioned the 45 million of the NRPB, and then in regard to that mentioned mental health. Can you explain what that is, what she's referring to? And also, a few months ago, you revoked the degrees of 2 doctors of the mental health institution. One of them is specialized in treatment of children. There is now no psychiatrist for children on the island, but there is a long waiting list. So maybe you could share your opinions on that. And also, Dr. Mercure has retired.
It's only one question per person, so I'll let Minister Ottley answer those.
Thank you. I would first like to touch on the revoke of the MBA. The specialist you're referring to, their MBA was established before my time, but it was in relation to working with Mental Health Foundation. They severed that relationship. So therefore, once they did that, then the MBA was no longer valid. It was not an MBA to work anywhere. The MBA specifically said that they will work with mental health. And that is, I'm glad you asked that question so we can clarify it to the public. So therefore, upon my tenure, I saw that there was discrepancies between mental health and the professionals, that they no longer work together. So it was only through the law that I had to revoke it. We speak on mental health. Yes, indeed, there's a meeting with the steering committee, and the mental health project is on the agenda today, and I'm happy and proud to say that. It is needed. We all know the issues with mental health, but that is what the Prime Minister is referring to, that I know for VSA, that's the only trust fund project that we have pending is the Mental Health Foundation. And the meeting with the steering committee is ongoing as we speak, and the mental health project is on the agenda. So we are making progress when it comes to mental health. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister Ottley. I would now like to invite Lyndon Brown of BCN TV. You have the floor.
Good morning to the people of St. Martin and the ministers that are present here today. Question to Minister Ottley. Minister, in 1948, it still remains that there are human rights, rights of expression, freedom of expression, freedom of the media, and freedom of choice. according to your statement just now, is it going to come a time that the human rights of people will be taken away? You mentioned that that the vaccine will be, monetary vaccine will be the thing in the future. Everybody eventually will have to take it. So to put two of these statements together, are you saying human rights will be history in time to come?
Thank you, Mr. Brown. I would like to repeat what I said, that the rest of the world eventually will put this measure on us. The problem that we are having, not the problem, but the conflict, is that we have human rights and we have human safety. So we have over 4 million people that died due to this virus. So now we're looking at this virus that we never seen before, that is continuously adjusting, because now we have the Delta variant that is stronger. We don't know what to expect. So persons are scared. Countries are afraid. Countries are afraid to going back in lockdown, afraid of mass deaths. So now they are thinking, okay, protection. And I think when you have countries that had hundreds of thousands of people died within months, protection is a human right factor, because just as I have the right to protect St. Martin, so I don't want us to look at it as our rights are being violated, because then if the airplanes say, or the cruise ships say, you need to be vaccinated to board my vessel, you have the right not to board the vessel. It's your choice. So that's how I look at it. It becomes a aspect of that, of violation versus safety. And I think the courts throughout the world are right now in limbo between those two aspects.
Thank you, Minister Ottley. I would now like to invite Jeffrey, Dr. Sock-Sockran of Island 92 Radio. You have the floor.
Thank you, Rolika. Good morning to all of the ministers and our colleagues that are here today. Minister DeWeaver, if I might run something by you, I'd like to know how things are progressing. We've heard you talk a lot about the improving tourism numbers, 2020 versus 2019 versus where we are this month in the month of June. As we look at those improving numbers and all the additional airlift that's coming in, it kind of begs the question, how is home porting progressing? Are we seeing sufficient numbers for home porting to continue, certainly with Celebrity and the other ships that are visiting? And are we seeing the economic, multiplier effect that we had hoped for as things continue to move forward? Thank you, Minister.
Thank you for the question, Dr. Sock. As it pertains to the home porting, the numbers of the passengers are consistent. They're around the, I would say, 450 mark every week to a maximum of 2,000, so about 25%, 30% of the total capacity of passengers. So any amount of persons coming in has an economic benefit to the island, because the comparison is zero. So I wouldn't even look at it as a question of whether or not we're reaping the benefits, because the alternative is zero. And because of the fact that we've accommodated this, we are in a dialogue again with another cruise line, potentially home porting, because as I expected it, that it would be touch and go as it comes to restart of cruise on a large scale. I saw that in the meeting that I had with Minister Ottley last week with Carnival Cruise Lines. And as that dialogue escalates to other lines, you basically see that the fact that we were on time. We grasped at that opportunity at the right time to bring in Celebrity here as a home port, because we looked to the other lines as they would have a potential opportunity here, as the time to restart in the U.S. keeps being dragged out. And that is the expectation I had. And that's what I said from the beginning, that this home port with Celebrity opened up the doors to us to have other lines see it as an opportunity for them to increase dialogue. So I got it as a compliment actually 2 days ago, where I heard that there is a potential for another one to home port here. And hopefully this will be done within short. And I really do hope that we can actually get back to normal with the cruise, with the cruise industry restarting, so that we can feel it, and so that we can feel that economic impact in terms of going back to normal prior to COVID. But nonetheless, the emphasis should be placed on the fact that we have cruise restarted already to St. Martin, and we are in the hurricane season, so anything is better than nothing. Thank you, Dr. Stock.
Thank you, Minister DeWeaver. We now move on to the second and final round of questions. Stephen Cerulean, you have the floor.
Thank you, Ms. Roach. If I may very quickly, Minister, you spoke of the Delta variant. How many of them have been discovered on St. Martin? And my question is for the Minister of Finance. The Central Bank of Curacao and St. Martin is moving towards the elimination of the 1 cent guilder, Antillean guilder, Minister. Have you been officially notified of this? And if yes, what's your take?
Thank you for your question. Yes, I have been officially notified of this, and the central bank has met with the various stakeholders in this process. It isn't a decision they got up one day and just did. The process took a while, and they have met all the different stakeholders before they came to their final decision in regards to the elimination of the 1 cent. That's it.
To answer your question, Mr. Cerulean, we have detected five cases of the Delta variant on that side, and I think the French side has detected 2. So, yeah.
Thank you, Minister Ottley, and thank you, Minister Edion. I would now like to invite Bibi Hadshaw. You have the floor.
Thank you, Relaika. Minister Ardwell Urian. Minister, it has come to my attention that there are certain civil servants that is supposed or have already gone on pension. These people are not able to get their paperwork finalized, for example, dismissal letters, because of, if I got the information correct, so if this is not true, I'd like for you to really set this straight. The calculations, for example, vacation allowance, a person going on pension that is owed vacation allowance because there's only the 50% being paid out. The decree for the dismissal is not being signed off because these people are not getting their money. Minister, there's a particular civil servant that started this process over 6 months ago. He's on pension since April. And up to today, he cannot get a dismissal letter. He cannot earn his pension. He's not being paid his salary. This person still has to live. So I'd like for you to tell me how long the process takes to finalize for a civil servant to go on pension. And is this 50% cut in vacation allowance hindering the process?
Thank you for your question. I have not heard of this case before. I would have to follow up with the Prime Minister, since this would fall under her ministry, but I'm pretty sure her staff is listening and will have an answer for you during the course of the week or the next press briefing.
Thank you, Minister Edion. I would now like to invite Jacqueline Huffman. You have the floor.
Mr. Doran, do you support the longer existing plans in St. Martin to steer away from heavy fuel oil? Can you hear me? Yeah. Do you support the longer existing plans on St. Martin to steer away from heavy fuel oil? And if yes, what are the options you're looking at in terms of solar, renewables, wind energy, or LNG?
Thank you, Ms. Hoffman, for your question. I'm not sure if the public was able to hear the question because I think the mic was off.
Okay, can we get you to state the question over again, please? Thank you.
I was asking if you support the longer existing plans in St. Martin to steer away from heavy fuel oil. As in 2016, GB purchased a new engine that was dual fuel engine to use LNG. And if you're looking at renewables, what kind of renewables, like solar, wind energy, or transition to LNG?
Thank you, Ms. Hoffman. We had, I think it was last week, we had several meetings with various stakeholders, a company, international company, as well as a company that operates on the island here already. Whether I support steering away from heavy fuel, it's a no-brainer for me because we have to. If you ask me, we are lagging behind as a country where that is concerned. And one of the options, well, we had several options, of course, LNG, as you mentioned, the dual fuel engines, as well as solar with respect to setting up a solar power system in the pond. So those are different options that we have been presented with. And for me, it is a top priority. However, based on the concession with GB, this has to be something that was done before. It is something that is being discussed at the moment. And the intention is to have, as a government, have GB and the relevant stakeholders with respect to the different options sit on a round table and have that discussion and decide the way forward as soon as possible. So your answer is yes, I support moving away from heavy fuel oil. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister Duran. I would now like to invite Lyndon Brown. You have the floor.
Question to the Minister of Finance. It's the press release from CFT last Wednesday, Minister, and there was some highlight that Mr. Raymond emphasized, like the downside in civil servant. His statement was there are too much paperwork, and he would like to see the implementation of digital work instead of using manpower. Digitally, they use the computer. So, how this is going to be in the favor of the civil servant? And also, he mentioned about financial management, property tax. How all of these measures will be benefit to the people of St. Martin?
Thank you for your question, Mr. Lyndon Brown. In regards to going more digital, that has been one of the plans of this government from the onset. It's not just about going digital alone, it's also about making sure our civil servants are also empowered and understand why we're going digital. Matter of fact, I had a meeting with my staff, the financial accounting department, just this week, and they are also begging us to start going digital to make their work even more efficient. So I believe that it's not just a cry of the CFT, it's also a cry of the organization itself to be able to go more digital. But in the Ministry of Finance, we are also looking to be more of a data-driven ministry. So to have policies backed by data, and the only way we can get this done properly is by also going more digital. In regards to our financial management, we are on track with this. We're also working with the implementation agenda in the TWAO, and in regards to there, we are on track with our agreements in regards to going more digital and having a proper financial management system.
Minister, that means that when you go digital, the manpower is there. It's going to happen that some of the civil servants will have to exit find another job? I mean, because if you're going digital, you don't need the amount of manpower, right? Am I right?
That's not the case, no. Like I mentioned before, we have, for example, persons doing data entry, physical data entry, taking documents at a tax office and physically have to put the data in. And if they go digital, then they can more focus on analyzing the data instead of only putting the data in. So going digital doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to downsize. Like I mentioned before, the staff themselves are asking us to have proper systems in place. Within finance, we have too many systems already. We're looking to downsize the systems so we can have one or two max and systems that could actually communicate with each other. So going digital doesn't necessarily mean we're downsizing.
Thank you, Minister Edion. I would now like to invite Jeffrey, Dr. Sock-Sokrin. You have the floor.
Thank you, Rolika. Minister Ottley, would love to address this to you, and you alluded to this, I think, to a certain degree in how things are going to be changing. The countries around the world are changing. Do you think we will get to, and how long do you think it will take for St. Martin to accept someone who's fully vaccinated as a condition to come to St. Martin with no pre-travel testing? How soon do you think we'll be at that juncture? Thank you, Minister.
Thank you, Dr. Sack. Very good question. The answer is very soon. We have had the discussion in the Council of Ministers, and a decision is to be made in the upcoming weeks. We are just ensuring that everything is covered, as that is my responsibility, safety over everything. So it will be in the coming weeks. We just are monitoring the new reports with the Delta variant and the vaccine's reactions to the Delta variant. Just when you think everything was covered, here comes the Delta variant. So once we have proper reporting on the Delta variant and the vaccine restrictions, it will be very, very soon. This is something that I am in favor of, so we can expect it.
Thank you, Minister Ottley. Members of the media, thank you once again for taking part. This does bring us to the end of the question and answer session. Again, any further questions can be directed to the Minister's Cabinet in writing. Honorable Ministers of the Council, members of the media, radio listeners, and online viewers, this brings us to the end of the live Council of Ministers press briefing for today, Wednesday, July 14th, 2021. For video on demand, for rebroadcast, tune into St. Martin Gov Radio 107.9 FM, the official Facebook page of the Government of St. Martin, the YouTube channel Government of St. Martin, and St. Martin Cable TV channel 115. For video on demand, log on to the Government of St. Martin's YouTube channel. On behalf of the Department of Communication and the Government of St. Martin, I'm Rolika Roach, and wishing you a pleasant day further.